Welcome to the most forward-thinking, inspirational podcast on the planet. Prepare to reevaluate everything you've been taught.
They have the power. We have the numbers now. It's all just a constant illusion of control. They break us like horses.
And they can tell us we're crazy, and we can say, well, you haven't seen anything yet.
Everything you knew was a goddamn lie. Would you up and explode like it's the 4th of July? Possessed by perfection in this land, if you're awake, you're the enemy. Every day a new deception. Pick your scene and take direction. And on a search to connect. But I don't wear a mask and I have no regret. Down on your knees, you don't look so tall. Open your eyes and the empire falls.
Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. It's been a long time that I've been doing an all call. I want to hear from Australia. I told you guys a little while ago that we may have lined something up. Today is the day that we got through to us. We got Australia on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, a lady that I met through the Instagrams prior to them constantly trying to shut me down or back us off or what have you. I didn't even know what they're doing, but they don't like what I'm doing. That's for sure. I didn't even know how it happened, but I got connected with this amazing account filled with memes that were poignant and entertaining. And then there was these little tags that you see them around and you're like, oh, I wonder if this is this and this is that. But she kept tagging where she was. And it was Australia. I'm like, these memes are great. And she appears to be from Australia. And I need to talk to her. So I reached out to her. And then about a week later, she got back to me. And she's now here with us today. And before I introduce her, I'm going to introduce the train that I've been talking about in the past few episodes. You're probably going to hear it come in loud and clear right after you guys get to meet Cherie Cherie from Australia, from Down Under. Welcome to the show.
Oh, hello. How are you? It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's going to be a good show, I think. It's been a while, too, since I've had a guest on the show. I think because I'm changing, I don't know, like I say, I'm changing dynamics. I don't want all this negativity and I don't want all this stuff. And that was one of the things, too, that caught my attention from you. You posted something like right in the thick of this, and we're all talking about it. We're all kind of living in it, and it's just getting weirder and weirder. And what you posted, I'm like, it's so hard for me to get out there this general message. And as much as we do need to talk about it, there's this overwhelming sense that you can experience it, you can talk about it, you can be in it, but you need to put it away. You can't live in it. And this message just rang so true to me. And it was, dear truth community, the regurgitated fear porn over what the government might do to you is hurting you and eroding you far more effectively than anything they are actually doing. And hello, train.
There it is.
There it is. There's the train. I've been talking about it for a few episodes, and I don't think it came through, but it's making an appearance today. So 2 guests today, ladies and gentlemen, Australia and the train. So yeah, your take on that before we get into it, because I mean, you've got so much stuff that I definitely want to talk about, but what's your take on on, yes, everything's fucked up and yes, everything's a little bit crazy, but what's your take on that meme, on that message?
Yeah, that's from Joe Raffarty. He's an Aussie podcaster as well, actually, and an entertainer. But he's written some quite poignant tweets of late, and it is something that I've this whole year actually been much focused on, and that is, what am I manifesting as a truther and a person who is doing the self work, and obviously acknowledging my shadow as well. So when it comes down to that and looking at it and seeing all of the shit show that's in our faces right now, some of it actually isn't in our faces. Like, I mean, some of the stuff that I see online or whatever the case, that's not actually even happening to me. But, so you really do, for me, have to kind of, step back, observe, and witness what's going inside of you, I mean, how you are reacting to it as a person. So, and in your body, I don't know, it's so easy to get caught up in all of this fear porn, particularly with being, the truthing for so long now that, yes, we knew all of this shit was happening. It was going to happen. But, seeing it in real time, step by step, you almost, build yourself into that kind of,
You become part of the narrative.
Manifestation. Exactly it. And just the, like you said, not invest in it, not live there. And that's the most essential thing I think we all need to be able to do to some degree. I mean, yes, things are all affecting us personally. I mean, I have many friends that are, that are in it. So I have to be there as a person that can hold space for them, But and I've also been in the thick of it, but it's how I'm grounded, whilst being in the thick of it and holding my own position is where I'm finding my work is at the moment. But it's a great quote, and it's been the wake up call for me during this whole 2020, 2021.
And that's it. I mean, we're sitting here right now. I'm in Canada, you're in Australia, and the majority of our listeners are American. So immediately in this punch, there are, not to mention the Germans, the second most populous country that listens to me are the Germans. And I love you guys.
Oh, wow.
You are the greatest.
Oh, well.
So hello to Germany. But this is the spot that we're in right now is, it's interesting because like you were saying, you have to do what you're doing, and what you're doing is hilarious. Guys, if you aren't following her, we're gonna put the links up in the footnotes and the liner notes for this podcast. But yeah, we're gonna make sure we get you over there because her stuff is great. Follow, don't follow. She's good. You'll be entertained, that's for sure. The meme queen. That's what I've heard you referred to as. And when we're in conversation, by the way, it blows me away at how fast you pull up those memes. Like, I've got them. I've got them in my phone and I can access them and I know roughly where they are, but you're like, this one, bing, bing, bing. How well you use them. Phenomenal. Entertaining to say the least.
Oh, they are the most underrated form of communication or information out there. And I don't know if you realize that now it's not so much, but probably around about maybe 5 years ago, the EU kind of was trying to ban memes or put a copyright on it, only because when I was in the Trump administration was trying to campaign and everything, that they were utilizing memes to get information out there so they wouldn't get blocked or censored or whatever. But now AI bots are getting a lot more of course trickier and then they are censoring it, but still dark humor, memes, offensive memes, every which way memes. I love it, and I just want to fling it out there. I've got more memes in my phone and more screenshots in my phone than pictures of my kids actually, which is but still,
that's the way of the world in 2021, that's for sure.
Sure is.
It's funny that you bring that up because I remember that happening. I'm like, and this was back when memes were nothing, when memes were just dumb jokes, right? I'm like, why on earth would they ban memes? What the fuck is wrong with this country? But there it is. They knew what was coming and they knew the information that was coming out. And speaking of memes too, one of the funniest things is I posted about the United Airways. I'm sorry if I'm getting this wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I've been out of touch with mainstream society specifically for the past 15 days. I think it's Southwest Airlines. This guy posted, he's like, I'm in Southwest, and this is the video I put on my Facebook. He says, I'm in Southwest. My flight got canceled, and this is why I got canceled, blah, blah, blah. And he says, this is what I have to say to you guys. Thank you. Keep up the work. Keep being solid. So this guy's inconvenienced, but he's like, you guys are amazing for standing against mandates. Facebook took it upon themselves within seconds to put up a meme saying, or put up a block on my meme saying, this is false information. And I laughed because I immediately posted underneath it the Southwest Airlines guy paging, using the airport pager to call no mandates to the desk, and you get this stuff. And then I guess something happened or something transpired where they said, we finally won this battle. So for the first time in the history of 1984, of Catch-22, of censorship, I watched it get reversed. They put the thing on and then they took it off.
Get out. Well done.
Yeah. And it wasn't me. I didn't, obviously I have nothing to do with it. I'm basically, I just danced between between Facebook jail sessions.
Yeah.
So it wasn't me, but it was the world. The world said, this is the truth. And like, you can't, what's that last line from Orwell's 1984? It's like, ignore what you see and feel and only listen to what we say.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
Police.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And look, if you haven't been in Facebook jail, I mean, are you really even memeing? That's another one. I mean, that's just, that's the signs of the times anyway. But I've been in Facebook jail, I don't know how many times, but most of all, it was to do with domestic terrorism. And you cannot actually post anything to do with Osama bin Laden or Hitler now. Like, that is a full ban, like a week's ban. I did it. I did it anyway, but I know, isn't that funny? You can, and these were funny memes. I'll send it to you. Actually, they're really funny memes.
What if I post it on your wall? Do I get banned, or how does that work?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, depending with the bots, but yeah, most classical pictures of Hitler and Osama, you cannot do it. It just picks up straight away. So don't do it. But I'll send it to you. Yeah, inbox it.
I got to get you on Facebook. And that's one of the things too. Like, my Instagram account is very much motivational, and it's very much needed. I love my Instagram account, and I love living in this, because here's the thing with regards to what we were initially talking about. When you hunt these memes, you live in them. And my Facebook account is because I've been shut down so much, I now have to approach it from the sense of I'm going to use the memes, but from the position of the vaxxed, or from the position of the narrative. I'm going to attempt to draw attention to the memes from a different angle. That way, if they ever shut me down again, I can say, no, you're misunderstanding why I'm using this meme, right? That sort of shit. So I want to start playing with it that way. But my Instagram, my podcast, and my Facebook are three entirely different entities of myself, the version of me that I utilize. But the thing too is, if you piss off Facebook enough, they'll take away your Insta. If you piss off Insta enough, they'll take away your Facebook. Like, it's they're connected in that sense. So I mean, the way I look at it right now, and I've even said to the audience numerous times that there's a high chance that that's all going to go away. I'm just going to piss off the wrong person, or the wrong bot for that matter. But yeah, so
that's
I mean, on the website we've got Stay Connected, ladies and gentlemen. So if you do go to the mentalmasteryalliance.com and you click on Stay Connected, you can enter your email address, and if we do get wiped out, we will be able to send you just the link, and that's all that email is for. It's not for spam. It's not for nothing. It's just to send you the link if we do get wiped out.
Yeah,
I love that meme, and I love that thing. So back to what I was talking about with the Instagram. I live in positivity because I'm constantly hunting it and I'm constantly seeing it. I also live in the world where you have to go through some really dark and weird memes. Like, you have to embrace it to find the good stuff to put out there, the entertaining stuff, the things that you can take a rib at. But you live in that world. And when they say that old thing back in the day, like, don't bring your homework home, or don't take your work home. It gets, you can. And people will say to me, they're like, you post this stuff all the time. Like, aren't you, like, you're in it. And then I think to myself, even though I can go there and step out and not get completely absorbed, because people are like, they're so far into the rabbit hole. Like there's the meme of what's his name from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's got the board up and the string and all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people are right now. And it's upsetting to them that I can go in and out of that world and not take it to bed, but that sort of thing. And that's such a huge plus to be able to live in this world, to share this information, to do what you can because you need to do it more than because other people need to see it, but it's because you need to do it. And as you do it, you get the opportunity to grow as an individual, to see new things, to understand new perspectives, and to constantly adapt and evolve yourself, and help people in the process while you're doing it, because people will then reach out to you and talk to you. And what do you think about this? And what should we do about that? And is there something that we can do that would make us feel better, safer, that sort of thing? In your perspective, because all of the stuff that you post, do you get crazy messages? Like what does your inbox look weird, or what's going on the other side of your Instagram?
Oh gosh, good question. I really haven't. I only kind of started this Instagram after I did a huge shadow work course. It was quite intense, 8-week. I actually did it for a year. That was back in 2018. And it was through that particular real hardcore work that I was doing at the time and the experiential that I, went onto Instagram and just started to meme out my shit, my feelings and how I was. So in that time, before Rona hit, I managed to actually have connect with, just some freaking amazing people, like, just wanting to know a little bit more about, what the shadow was and I don't know, just I was kind of a lot more active in those days as well, and just working through my own personal shit. So that was that. But when 2020 started and I really started to get into the whole, truth ring and shadow part of the meme, and yeah, you do get a different kind of clientele. So for instance, I started memeing about Trump. And Trump was just brilliant to meme about. All of his memes are freaking just hilarious. Just you put his face there and you could just make anything from it. Now, I wasn't a Trumper at all, but I was someone that appreciated his work because he was our collective shadow. He was the person, as we spoke about before, that everyone wanted to, launch into and hate and despise. And he used to voice everything that was all discussed, and literally we allowed ourselves to feed, his shadow up to, to this point. So when I started memeing about him, a lot of people actually just thought that I was a Trumper. So I got a huge amount of followings just from these, simple, Trump memes. But I wasn't. I was just wanting to actually stipulate that that's, who he was. He is our, everything that we hate in ourselves. But he's just saying it on the platforms. But yeah, I don't know. It's the inbox now is so when when I started to get into more of the vaccinator side of things, I started to get a little bit more irate kind of inboxes or comments, as you do. Karen started to come out, but then even I started to notice my own Karen in me, why was I so righteous and authoritarian? What do I know? I really had to sort of sit back and, view my, what was coming up inside of me every time of this. And then I also got one, it was a big, long kind of, I wouldn't say rant. It was actually quite well done inbox of just a lady saying, I started following you from the beginning. I loved your spiritual memes, and I must say, some of them were a bit love and lighty at one stage, because you can connect with, I'm in sales, so I know how to connect with a lot of different sort of various people, and build rapport. And she's like, but if you go away from that particular, narrative, which is, I don't always post, lovely light and love, positivity, spiritual memes, because that's just one clientele there. I go through the whole, versions. It's sometimes they're dark, sometimes they're, quotes, or sometimes, the various. And she was saying, I followed you from the start. Now you're talking about facts. I have to unfollow you. You know how they have to tell you they have to unfollow you.
Yeah. You fucked up.
I know I fucked up, didn't I? And I mean, look, if you're, but that is another thing. Like, if you're not, if you're not pissing a few people off, or a lot of people, I mean, are you even speaking your truth? Are you even being authentic? You know, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, people won't bloody. I mean, I know a heap of memers that aren't being authentic. You know, that their inbox is totally different to what they're memeing, and that's okay. Like, I mean, some people, you know, have this as a business as well, and they don't want to ruin their, you know, or put their clients off, you know, offside or anything. I've got no fucking clients. So it's not a big deal for me. It's just, I just meme from what I'm, you know, from my heart and what I'm experiencing at that time. So yeah, I think that gives me a little bit more leeway, if you know what I mean.
Room, wiggle room, leeway. Got it. It's all
that's it. Because I've got no one to. I've got nothing to sell. I've just, you know, speak my shit. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, no, and it's good too. I mean, even when you are putting it, because a lot of my Instagram is light and love. Because I mean, I fucking love that shit. Like, I really do. Like, I spent so much of my life in the dark, and I love to be able to share that stuff. And it's funny because some of them are female oriented. It's like, you know, a woman can do this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
These are the things that I put out there, and then you'll get people commenting on it and being like, men can do it too. It's like, bitch. And I reply right away. I'll say things like, if you take anything from this account, you have to take everything from this account. Don't comment on one post, right? Because it's I will advocate for every single side in this thing, in this avenue. I will advocate for the light, for the dark, for the men, for the women. I won't advocate for the crazy stuff that goes on where people like, what do they do? I associate as a lamp. So that's my sex. I'm a lamp. You know, I don't care much for that. I mean, I agree with Dave Chappelle. It's like, how far do I have to bend my mind to accommodate your belief system? You know?
Yeah.
And when you've got those people that are backing out on you, it's like, you know, lady, I appreciate that you were here the whole time. But I don't do this for you. As much as I appreciate you being here and appreciate you enjoying it, you know, I can't change for you. And it's peculiar that you've got the righteousness that you want to step up to me and say that I should, or that you have to leave. And it's having a firm grasp on your shadow to understand, like you said earlier, what made me so righteous that I was like that. And I realized too, that when I was being more aggressive earlier on with certain things, that was the thing. I'm like, people aren't, and I was like, why are people snapping at me? And then you sort of rereading, you're like, fuck, I'm putting the way I'm verbing this and wording this, it's far too aggressive for what I'm trying to get across. But that shit makes you change your delivery, not for anybody else, but for yourself, to be more clear in purpose. What's that? What's that saying? Like, you've got 5 wishes, be very, very specific, you know?
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely. How, and that's, you can't be overtaken by, you know, your own shadow with your own disgust and hate sometimes. Like, and that's the narrative that sometimes it's so easy to get caught up on. Even though when you think, oh no, this is my page, this is what I'm doing, you know, but then I sometimes do get caught up in that sort of, you know, that land of just, you know, what everyone else is, you know, feeling at the time. And that's part of the collective, you know, and it's interesting how you and I kind of connected, because I was always living in positivity, you know, love and light most of my life. It's only been in the last, 5 years that I've actually gone into that sort of darkness part, you know, and now I'm basically reintegrating, you know, and balancing both my shadow and light. So, you'd never told me that before, actually, when we spoke.
Well, you and I have been speaking for about a week now. Yeah. It's not like I've unloaded everything on you. You know, we're just getting to know each other.
I know. Sure. That's it. But no, there's always a way. There's always a way. There's always a reason. And we're connecting.
So exactly. And honestly, too, on my show, I talk a huge amount about how much of a piece of shit I was. And it was because it all stemmed from self-hate. Like, I fucking loathed myself. But I had everything. I had what they told me to have. I had the good job. I had the good money. I had the fucking cocaine addiction. I had all of this stuff. And this was all of that stuff to me at the time was like, it was shameful. I remember on my journey, I would never, ever, like, even when I was in the throes of the cocaine, I would never even sort of make a big deal of it. I would never flaunt it or have it out there. Like, there was shame involved in it for me.
Oh, yeah.
And it was around episode 50 or 60 on this show that I finally started talking about it. And you realize that a podcast becomes cathartic, because right now it's literally just you and me talking. That's how it appears. But for a show we're getting about roughly 10,000 downloads a month. There are people out there listening, and there are people that are taking this in, and there are people that are going to start not complaining, but they talk. Everybody talks, and a lot of people have opinions. My audience is phenomenal because everybody pretty much just really enjoys it or relates to it, and comes along with it. There's not somebody that's like, oh, fuck you. You're, I didn't know that about you. Mm-hmm. But the darkness that I came out of, the self-loathing, the self-hate, the early childhood trauma that created my personal thing, and however it goes down, being able to have this conversation, being able to talk about it openly was a weight off my chest. So even though I'm sitting here only talking to a microphone, I was sharing with the world, and I was freeing myself of my own pain, which is, again, what with regards to shadow work. Yeah. And the podcast became extremely cathartic, and I was able to help myself by sharing my story. And at the same time, without having that story, I wouldn't be here in the position to speak. So all of the terrible things that I held myself prisoner to, or the things that I thought of myself, or the past that I lived, the dumb things that I did when I was young and I didn't know. Another thing that humanity does now is they punish themselves with today's knowledge for mistakes from 10 years ago.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And you're like, 10 years ago, you didn't know what you know today. So you can't apply today's knowledge to what you were doing 10 years ago. Yeah. And absolutely. So to me, I walked out of darkness, and that was it. I came out of the darkness, and it was the desire I had to go deeper. Like, basically, the self-loathing had to be like, I need to address myself. And then addressing myself allowed me to accept myself. And then accepting myself led me into believing in myself and the light. And the whole time I was doing this, I was a sales coach. So I wasn't even a motivational speaker. I wasn't even a life coach. I was a sales coach. And the best thing you can do as a sales coach, or the best thing you can do as a high ticket sales individual, is lots of cocaine, because you're all amped up on energy and you are rushing people through. You're making them fall in love with you. You're just radiating this energy that on any given day would put you to sleep if you put out that much energy. People love you. The people love you. The people buy from you, and that's it. So there's so much, and I could go on for an entire episode again of what that's all about. Oh no, that absolutely resonates with me. So I understand. Yeah, shadow work is probably the most important thing in the entire world that anyone can do. Oh yeah, and 2020, 2021, this is the ultimate time to be doing it. We are literally being given this absolute, God-given blessing to be able to work on ourselves at the moment, because, everyone pointing the finger, to everyone else, and I mean, to the government, whatever, we are literally just pointing out our own shit, our shadow shit, and being activated. So these polarizations, I mean, I'm guilty of it. I'm falling prey to it, but at least you and I are both aware of when we are doing it. But some people can just go into this, this kind of mind control, and that's what this matrix is. It is a mind control matrix system, and having this happen to us right now, it is obviously chaotic, and it is polarizing, and it's apocalypse now. But I do see that it is a breaking away to, if you want it, the new earth, and not 3D sort of, 5D kind of like lovely, whatever spiritual kind of thing, but a new earth in a sense of a new way of doing things, a new way of evolving. So I still believe that's the best part of all of this entire shit show is to come, and that, if we are to be able to acknowledge our shadows first, and understand that we are, responsible for our own feelings and our own way of living in our own lives, that's where we see the changes and the shifts happen. Shifts happen. I want to get a shirt that says that. Wasn't that in Forrest Gump? Shift happens? Shit, no, that was shit happens. Does it? Oh God, I didn't realize. Anyway. Oh. No, shift happens. Yeah, shift happens. I've seen that somewhere before. I know that. I love that. Here's the thing too. You and I were half an hour into this episode, and we haven't even gotten into we haven't even gotten into what I wanted to talk about. You know, what we've got
Oh,
you on
Australia.
to.
Oh my God. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. We just do that if you want to.
No, for sure. And I had a feeling too that, you know, you would be a returning guest after connecting with you over the week. And there's obviously so much we can talk about that isn't COVID related, that isn't this weird world mandate, you know, World War III thing going on, but how to help people and how to step into how to help people step into their own purpose is absolutely, it's my life's passion to help people see this in themselves. And this is coming from a guy that was like, fuck woo woo juju, but I am third dimension to fifth dimension. I am woo woo juju. I am understanding that every single thing externally is a mirror of what you're going through internally.
Absolutely.
Every challenge you have to overcome, every single thing that's out there, every single thing right now that's coming that sucks is an opportunity to adapt, you know. And this is, there are people out there I know that didn't want to get the vaccine, that had to get the vaccine, that were going to lose their job. You know, their story will be told a little bit later. There's something that will come up for them. The people that are fighting it right now that aren't getting vaxxed, you know, we're going through the ringer. And in Canada, it's weird. Like I'm not allowed anywhere. Right. But here's the thing. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to the movies. I can't go to the restaurants. I look at this though. And on the lighter side of this, there's a thing that says the gym is great. You get good muscles, but it's not kinetic movement. It's not functional pattern. So all those muscles, sure, they look good, but they're not really all that useful. So the gym theoretically isn't that good for you. So COVID took the gym away. Going to restaurants, drinking and eating that food isn't that good for you. You're not supposed to eat all the sodium that's in the majority of restaurant foods, and you shouldn't be drinking that much. So COVID took that away from you because you didn't get the shot. So it's helping you. You shouldn't go to the movies, they say. You know, all that stuff. We all know that every single thing that's in the movies is melting your brain, not to mention everything that's at the junk food stand. So it's not good to go to the movies. So COVID's like systematically taking away the things that we shouldn't have in our lives.
Attachments, and I've been saying this as well, that is exactly, and I made peace with a lot of that stuff at the start of 2020 in April. I mean, obviously here in Australia, most people who went out and got the vax first was basically they wanted to travel. And look, I'm down for traveling. I love traveling, you know. However, I had to make peace that I wasn't going to be traveling because I knew that was going to be, you know, the passport system was going to be put into place. So having these attachments, and I'd already made peace with not going to a restaurant. I'd rather cook at home anyway, you know, instead of, you know, someone who hates their job and, you know, pouring all their kind of energy into my food being prepared, or I don't even know how it's being prepared, you know.
Right.
And then you've got obviously, you know, screen time. I mean, I don't mind movies, but you're right, the junk in there and the screen time and the pre-program that you're getting from it. It's always this part of society is falling away for a reason, you know. And I hate to say that. I mean, I don't want anyone to be affected in the sense of, you know, business-wise and such, but there is a purpose for all of this to be, you know, to move into our, you know, true selves and another way of being. So I'm on another group on Telegram, which is a teachers group, and they're in the mandate situation. So they've been, you know, you not protesting or anything like that, but using their pens and writing to all of the ministers and governments and, you know, all the health people to be, you know, and writing their stories as to why they don't want it or, you know, what should happen, And I only just saw a post as I was seeing before we got on here, and they were saying, why are we doing this? You know, like, I mean, the school system's broken anyway. We all know that it's indoctrination camps.
Yeah.
Why can't we just do, you know, other forms of schools? Why can't we do other, you know, ways of learning, you know, life schools? And when I saw that, I went, oh my God, yes, this is what we kind of, you know, this is what we need. This is the change we need, you know? Yeah. I mean, my daughter was learning about freaking Vikings the other day, and I'm like, Vikings? What? Like, it's a big assignment. Like, what's so? You know, I mean, it's like age-old question. Why do we learn algebra for? Like, I bloody used it. You know, these sorts of things. It's just, it's
why didn't they ever teach us about taxes or mortgages or how to buy a house or how to save money? You know,
that's right.
You know, they don't teach you anything, and none of the schools do. And you ask the teachers too. And here's the weird thing about science, right? Science is supposed to be questioned. The whole purpose of science is to question science. And and you know, right now in this day and age, we're not allowed to question science. But not questioning science is essentially propaganda. But in the schools, if you say to the teacher, if you point to a teacher and say, you know, prove the curvature of the earth, for example, there's this this blockage in the mind of the teacher that says, I can't, this is exactly what it is. But if you're like, well, look at this, and this, and they're like, no, we're not going to do that. And they shut you down. That's because they're trained to do it as well. So the teachers themselves are waking up.
Mm-hmm.
And, another interesting aspect of this too is what did you just have over there? Freedom Day. Now,
yeah, that was Monday.
And that, this shit blows my mind because you were talking about Freedom Day and it sounds wonderful, but what was Freedom Day in Australia?
Freedom Day, I called it Unfreedom Day or Segregation Day, which, oh God, the press went to town on people that were calling that, how dare you say segregation? You don't know what segregation is and all that. Anyway, Freedom Day, yes. Was
yeah, I'm over here. I'm not allowed to eat with you people. I know what segregation is. Yeah, I get it.
I know. They actually legit had, every paper or news source just went, how dare we say that sort of, and liken it to anything to do with, whatever. But Freedom Day was on Monday, and that was basically we were all let out, and there was people just, oh my God, I'm allowed to get back to the pub, I can go to the restaurants, and whatever the case. And I'm just like, I'm still not allowed out because well, I am. I kind of didn't really do the rules that well. I'm not very good at following rules this whole lockdown. But 105 days in lockdown. So we started in June. Ours was obviously quite strict. In a sense, 5 kilometres wasn't allowed, to go anywhere. An hour form of exercise, essential services only, no small businesses open, and no haircuts, no nothing, no gym. The drill. But when we're just opening now, we're in the vax passport sort of state, like you guys are. You've got to show your phone to get in. Now, I've noticed that the big corporations are the ones that are being a little bit more Nazi on all this, that they've got employed the staff to actually police this, because our police force doesn't actually do it. And they made that clear that they weren't going to do that, because guess what? They don't have the rights to actually ask for our, personal medical freedom.
Yeah,
medical
it's a giant mind fuck. There's a 14-year-old looking at your phone, judging your life right now.
Yes, exactly it. And so small businesses, I'm pretty sure, and this is another thing. It comes down to their mentality. Okay, so where they are in this system. Are they pro or for it, or are they neutral? It really does. And most small businesses are obviously been struggling over this past 104 days. So they're like, it's up to them whether they want them in the shop or not, but the fears are fines. So we've got $10,000 of fines if there is an employee, a business will cop, if there is an employee that's unvaxxed in your business. That should be. So that's interesting. And $1,000 fine for that employee or that person. We still have mandatory mask wearing at the moment. They did relax the outs. Actually, no, they haven't relaxed the outside thing yet. But see, it just doesn't make any bloody sense. And we have 80% of the population here in Australia vaxxed already. So I don't know how much longer they're going to keep this going. But Melbourne, unfortunately, they're the ones that have seen most of the videos, that came out with the real harsh restrictions and the police being quite brutal. They're part of the Strong Cities Network, which is a very different, it's actually, I don't know if you've heard about it before, but the Strong Cities Network is part of a UN-based network, which some cities, I think there's a couple in Canada, I can't remember which ones they were though, but they're a different kind of a force. They're, a lot more, they do things differently. So the cops here in New South Wales, Sydney, weren't as brutal and full on as they were down in and harsh down in Melbourne, Victoria there, which is interesting. So they're still locked down there. The premier of that particular state, Dan Andrews, who's we'll call him Dictator Dan or Despot Dan, is under obviously extreme pressure from his Chinese, well, that's the rumour anyway, and the big pharma, of course, to make his quota for people to mandate. So he's mandated everybody. And then, like I messaged you the other day, Northern Territory, which is up the top of Australia there, which is our outback. That's where the Ayers Rock is. That's where all the kangaroos are everywhere. That's where
Crocodile
our
Dundee's
huge
up that way.
indigenous. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's where Crocodile Dundee was. That's that film. That's the epitome of Australia outback. Yes.
But do you know that
had no cases?
the majority of the
Don't
world is
go.
like, the majority of the world believes that all of Australia is the outback. It's just,
I know. we always bung it on as well, and everything's going to kill you as well.
that's
I
right.
had a big blue-tongue lizard at the back of my house at the moment. I've got like redback spiders around my house, you know, and they're like, yeah, they can kill me, but I mean, yeah, they don't.
But there's nothing to worry about because there's no mandates against the wildlife near you. So you'll be fine.
No.
There's no mandates. Yeah.
No.
They should
We
be
just
wearing
deal with
masks,
it.
those redback spiders.
That's right. Yeah, so Northern Territory had no case. They've had no deaths, and all of their cases have been from the fly-ins because we've got a port up there in Darwin, and they've just mandated everybody. So that's everyone that wants to work. You have to be vaxxed. It just makes no sense. So obviously the big pharma has gotten to that particular premier as well. And look, I mean, I'm hoping that there's just going to be some pushback there because what I see in the States happening, you know, because I think they're 50%. Do you think? Do you reckon they're 50% vax there or 40%?
I'm not sure the actual
kind of a bit
numbers.
wary, isn't it?
We should definitely have an American on the phone for this call here. That should be a good three-way next time. But in Canada,
but they have. Yes,
in Canada, they told us that we're at 80%, and I don't believe that. I don't believe any of the numbers. I think the whole thing is a charade, and they're charade. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, tomato, relax. But I think that it's a game, right? Because if you keep telling me that there's 80% vaxxed, that's almost like a psychological thing where I'm like, well, fuck it, I'll just do it too then. Like I held out for so long, but they're telling us our numbers are 80%, and I don't believe it. I just see a growing number of people. And you know what? If it is 80%, my take on this whole thing is like, I have my misgivings of what the vaccine really is. I mean, I believe this all to be control. I also know that in Canada, they just passed a thing that says all government employees need to be vaxxed to go to work. Every last one of them. Yep. So
same here.
And the weird thing about that is if the cops don't want to get vaxxed, they're fired. So now you like basically they're building a Gestapo, and I don't know if this will be able to air in Australia because that's too close to Hitler, and it might be a meme, and I might get kicked off Australian radio.
No, you're right.
But we have a decent Australian following, and none of you stepped up to the plate. Just letting you all know that it was Cherie that did. So scolding my Australian audience, you bastards! I wanted to talk about this forever. But I got the right one. I got the one Aussie I was looking for. So this thing is this. It's weird because once everybody that may oppose this no longer has a job, you've now theoretically split society because you've got a bunch of brainless people, and that sounds harsh. You know, I'm not going to say brainless people because every single person that took the vax may believe in what they're saying. But they should certainly adapt or look at different things or be open to debate, a small amount of debate as opposed to like just debate, just
be able to have that conversation.
It's hard. People don't want to debate. And anyway, so when all the cops are vaxxed and all the unvaxxed cops are fired, that could be a very interesting turning point. What I see here, there's two things that I see here that are happening in the news. One of them is in Australia and one of them is in the States. In the States, Southwest Airlines started a cascade. They're starting something. More people are going to stand up to this because they won that no mandates thing. The pilots don't want to do it. And in Australia, one of your premiers had to step down because of clear evidence of Pfizer money cash dumps.
Taking bribes,
Yeah, bribery. Funny how my brain didn't. Money cash dumps. All right, I'm English good.
But as far as the rest of Australia knows, that they don't know that's happened, that they've kept that out of the press. But as far as Australia knows, they just think it's just something to do with her dodgy boyfriend. So that's the whole, you know, where the alternative media and everything, you know, I mean, you and I both listen to, you know, rather than the mainstream brainwashing. But I mean, like I said to you the other day, there are campaigns for that dodgy premier to be prime minister, like, of Australia. Like, she's a crook. You don't see this.
Our prime minister is he's been in blackface all over the place, And again,
Oh my God, it's true.
as per what I was saying, like you can't hold that against him, because back in the day, that wasn't as frowned upon, even though it's faux pas. I don't know. People are assholes, and he was. He's also got a sexual scandal, which, again, if you want to take with a grain of salt, could have happened. It could have been a misunderstanding. It could have been a miscommunication. The bribe that he paid her, I don't know. Maybe she went against it. Who knows what really happened? None of us can. That's wishy-washy. But what actually happened while he was sitting in office was the massive amounts of bribery for S&C level land. The guy is literally flat out guilty of fraud, and they threw it away. They threw it all out. So this guy has been burning left, right, and center. And the libtards that are voting for him, and I don't mean to offend anybody when I say libtards, but I honestly don't believe a closed-minded liberal is listening to this show. So we're just going to stick with it.
Yep.
But it's not, this isn't liberal conservative. This isn't, Republican. This isn't that. This is, we all have a different set of beliefs for what's happening. We all have a different understanding and comprehension, and anything that we once believed, the more we open up to it, it's literally a melting pot of everybody from every genre coming together and understanding. So where we are right now is this cauldron of people finding each other. Like, I honestly don't even know how I found you. But this is how the world is working. People are being put into the paths of other people that can help share, spread, or create awareness. And it's not like we're creating a movement, and maybe it is. Maybe this is the beginning of the resistance. Who knows? But aside from that, it's an opportunity for people that are completely lost and completely miserable to say, holy shit, I'm not alone. Other people are saying these things and talking these things, and other people are seeing what I'm seeing. Like, I'm not going crazy. That's the benefit of what's happening. The more they push us, they're not pushing us away, because anyone that's acting or thinking freely, they're literally grouping us and pushing us together. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. And to anyone that is, feeling those thoughts of, hopelessness, and trust me, those 104 days was just like a full, mind fuck for me, as well as a deeper inner work of just, all hopelessness, truly, like this is, I can only see some greater timelines come out of it, and it's through us being able to communicate and connect with each other, and just know that you are not alone, that, if you are doing the work on yourself, and if you are actively, just being, observing what's happening here, and not buying too much into the fear porn of what's, that they're trying to brainwash us with, we end up finding these amazing, beautiful connections like we have, and I'm just, so grateful for that. And I say that to anyone that, if you do, feel you need to connect, please do on, Insta, if you need to, something, but, it's just these are hard times, but they're not, and I say this with all, great respect. I mean, I've known two people that have actually killed themselves over in this last year, just because it just got too much.
Yeah.
That, there always are choices here, and these dark times, I sometimes willingly go to that point of the dark night of the soul, that those dark, really, because I know once I go to hit rock bottom, there is only this beautiful, wonderful growth, coming back up again, and you end up, shifting even more so. And it's just, it's the gaming world. It's like you level up again. You know what I mean? So just know that, things are temporary, and that it's, despite all the truthing that we know, it's that projection, whatever it is, there is a purpose for all of this, and that is our growth, our evolution.
I agree with that 100%, 1,000%. I love that. I love that. So I also like that you took the time. You're one of the very few guests that spoke to the audience. So I like that. That was a great little soliloquy. I have a few more questions about Australia, though. What's this story that you guys aren't allowed to fly off the island, the continent?
Oh, yeah. So our borders are being, so obviously we've got states like yourselves, and they're pretty much being run by into little countries now. So we're under a public health order, So that's the reason why all these ridiculous laws have been allowed to happen. Well, actually, not even laws, mandates, sorry. So each state has, power, whatever, hungry, and being told, okay, I can't go up to Queensland right now. I can't go to Northern Territory. I can't go to Melbourne even if I wanted to. And if I did, you can actually apply for it, but you have to go into quarantine. So 2 weeks quarantine. Those are the camps that you see. We've seen those kind of pictures of the camps that are out there. Sometimes they're hotels. Sometimes they're just like this big, camp in freaking, that houses 500 people kind of thing. And you have to have mandatory quarantine there. So if you want to go out of Australia, you can. You have to have a legit excuse, though. It has to be some sort of either, funeral or business sort of. I mean, you know what? I'm sure there's actually rich people just fucking flying out like left, right, and centre because they can. But for the average person to go out, you can. However, if you want to come back in, it's like $10,000 to just, get yourself back in. That's one person. That's what I've heard anyway, because the quarantining, you have to basically go through, and all of the other rigmarole and the costs of flights, and it's just bullshit. But yeah, so for 2 years, we've legit, not allowed off this prison island at all. Well, not just, for to go to Bali and have a, great old time or anything. Yeah, you really just got to have a proper excuse. And so there's a lot of Australians that are actually still stranded overseas, still can't come back in for whatever reason. I have known some people that have managed to get back in, but only just in the last couple of months. And yeah, huge amount of money to get back into Australia. So, I mean, however, they are opening up. They keep on toying with everyone. And Christmas is coming because they have to, give us a reprieve, So this reprieve is just going to, get us back into that, sense of normality. And we have Christmas. We can see our friends and family. We can go, and have our January, holidays and go to the beach and whatever. That's psychological warfare, of course, as we know, because then they can hit us again, come March, February, whatever it is, and lock us down, for
Look what you did.
Reason.
You went out. You're the reason that we're all in trouble again. You overdid it.
Oh yeah. So that's the thing. We're going to let a whole pile of people come in the next couple of months. Overseas people, God, not that people want to actually holiday here anymore, but do you mean American? How many folk that actually said no? Australia used to be on my bucket list, not going there anymore. I'm like, oh no, it's still good, but yeah, it's shit at the moment.
I hope that changes too, because Australia was just it was such a beautiful spot. Like it's so weird because everybody loves the Australian accent. They love the idea of surfing and all that sort of stuff, and and it's funny because you hear Australians. I've heard a few Australians say too that they love the Canadian accent. And I'm like, that's foolish.
No. Canadians and Australians are like brothers and sisters. We get you guys. Like I don't know. It's our humor. I think that you both get it. We both get each other.
I think so. There's and again, you and I even spoke about this earlier. There used to be a kinship between Canada and Australia, where we could easily flip flop and go work for, I don't know, certain agencies down there. We'd set it all up in Canada and just go and work. There was also a come and go, an open door policy between the two countries, which was as long as you had, I think it was like $10,000 in your bank account. And the only reason you needed to have that and show that was so that you didn't go to Australia and like jump on their welfare system. That was how they did that. And there was just this open door policy for years and years and years where you could come and go as many times as you wanted between Canada and Australia. And unfortunately I never did, but yeah, I'd still like to. And like you were talking about too.
Yeah.
With the spiders, I had a friend of mine was dating this broad, and she goes, "I'll never go to Australia because they have spiders in the outback." I'm like, "Yeah, but the outback's like a tiny piece of you can go to cities." Now, I'm in the burbs here, and trust me, I've got plenty of spiders and snakes around this area as well. But I mean, yeah, you learn to live with them. They don't, they're more scared of us than they are of you. Of we of them, sorry. And don't let that be a hindrance. Come anyway. Yeah.
Oh well, it's just, I know, we're not that shit. We're shit at the moment, but we're still good. We're still Australia. We still have, it's a beautiful sunny day at the moment. I'd love to just head up to the beach as well. Or just anything at the moment.
Yeah, I love the time zones too. Like it's right now because as we're recording this, it's 7:58 p.m. Thursday night. You're in the future.
Yep,
It's 11 a.m.
I am.
Friday morning.
Yep. Yep. And we are basically, the future of what's happening. And I love that the fact that, I can call many of you guys. Like I have, several friends in the States and Canada. And they end up going, we end up kind of, bonding in the different time zones together. Like,
well,
they end up coming on my time.
you don't seem to sleep. I mean, sometimes the messages I get from you, I'm like, you should be well asleep by now. But I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. But you seem to be around a lot on my time. So I don't know. I don't know what your sleep patterns are.
Oh, you've got a better time zone than most, I think, because you're, I think you're 3 hours from my other friend, actually. But yeah.
I would be. They're 3 hours.
Maybe
behind. Behind.
Yeah,
because if I wake up at 5, I'll wake up at 5 in the morning and I'm talking to them and it's like 2 in the morning. So they're just going to bed and I'm just getting up.
Yeah.
No, I love these time zone things. And there's another thing too, with regards to if you're going to throw a little conspiracy at it, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to take a really interesting look at the world and you're not sold on the flat earth, the globe earth, I'm not sold on anything. I just know that we're not on a spinning ball. I just know that is a fact.
I didn't know you toured into that one. I go into, I'm not a flat earther either, but I loved learning about it. Hey, and just because there was so much more to than just, being a flat earth, like everyone thinks, that you're going to tip off the side. It's just the greatest,
it's the first
journey into your own self as well, isn't it? It's the biggest lie of all too.
It's the first one that, I don't know. I think the biggest lie I'm seeing how it just sort of ties in. The flat earth just ties in. But from what I've seen with the flat earth, like, it's not that I would, at one point I would have been like, sure, I'm a flat earther, but the flat earth model has holes in it. So I've looked into concave earth. I've looked into hollow earth. I've looked into, the black sun, Saturn, the cube. I've looked into all of this stuff. And the best I can figure right now is that we're just simply living in a simulation. That's where I am in this. There's too much.
Yes. Sorry, keep going. I'm interrupting. Sorry, go.
No, go ahead. I've said my piece. Where are we? What do you think on this?
No, but I've said the same thing. And I look, everything that, I can learn about theories of, what this place is. I take it all on board. I don't make it a belief system in itself, but then, like you said, the simulation, and I'm not talking, computer simulation, but then once you realize,
it was really neat there
to manipulate.
When you did that, when you said computer simulation in that voice, when your phone gives you that long elongated echo, you went into total robotic voice immediately when you said computer simulation and dragged it out. that was fucking cool. That's not a sound effect, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't add that in. That was nature doing that for us.
Wow, good work. See, this is the thing, and that's the whole part of this journey that I've been on as well. Well, that, and also we can manipulate our reality, pure and simple. Mm-hmm. And then you these things when I've had so many circumstances. I don't have to go into them now, but of where I've just been in the absolute dire straits of shit still, and I've gone, hang on, this is not where I want to be. And I've just somehow magically come out of it, sort of thing. And so that's why I cannot believe to be, one is one thing, like everything can be,
everything can exist.
It's for perception. Everything can exist. It's our perception of it all, sort of thing. So when we have these, dogmatic beliefs, we are basically cornering ourselves into one little part of, this world. And that really, I've always been open to all of that, all of it, whether it be, how God or, this universe, like flat earth, it's all, if you have an open heart and an open mind to it, you can just, there's so many other possibilities out there for us, but it's just, a matter of it not allowing it to overwhelm you or control you, So,
just let it flow through you.
That's right. Let it flow through you.
That's
And this is where the dimensions are coming through as well. Like you just mentioned the fifth dimension before. I mean, we are living in a dimension world, like, where obviously we have occult forces always, even with us, in a 3D world, I've known and sensed them for most of my life. And these entities, are also in this, simulation, part of ourselves in this realm, and they are constantly, utilizing our life force or illuge or whatever every time that, we're experiencing. And most, people would say that, if you get into the sorts of studies and stuff like that, that we are, the supreme being, because we have this, freedom of, free thinking and thought and emotions, whereas other, possible species don't have that, like we do. God, am I getting really down weird here?
No, this is good. This was I'm just sitting here
I don't
listening.
know how we end up here.
This is where it always goes, right? When you're getting into a good conversation. But I mean, we touched on a lot of stuff in Australia that I wanted to touch on. This is just added bonus. I wasn't sure, I didn't know we were going to go into this, but I believe all this stuff too. And one thing I was just going to throw in there was that now I don't even believe that we're the top of the food chain. I believe that we were deceived into believing that we were the top of the food chain, and that there are other entities, and we've all heard about reptilians and this, that, and the other thing.
Oh yeah, a lot of memes in that one. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about it. Vampires have been handed to us throughout the course of time throughout media. We believe them, and we believe that they're limitless and they suck the blood of kids. And we've all heard the stories of adrenochrome. I mean, I've got giant threads tying vampires to celebrity and how they come out at night and how they're called the stars and how they yada 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 and this longevity. We've all seen those pictures too of like Jay-Z and Eddie Murphy sitting on like the front stoop of something and back in the 1800s or 1700s. Like there's all this stuff that goes into it. And then you throw in things like Tartaria and the fact that all of our history was completely lied to us about.
Tartaria. Yep, love it. Yep.
Yeah. Well, actually, that might be how I found you. You may have commented on one of my buddies at Red Bricks. He's a good buddy of mine. Tartarian Meltdown.
Oh, yeah.
So
now, so there you go. That's how it must have happened, because I was actually wondering that the other day. Yeah, and I think you are friends with one of them. And to be honest with you, actually, I only just started to. Well, it's only from 2020 that I started to get into the Tartaria. That was not even a thing for me. And that blew my mind when I went down those rabbit holes. I was just like, whoa. And when I try to discuss this with other people that I don't have that, I'm surrounded by a lot of teachers, school teachers. And that's not even in the realm. They can't even, that just goes straight to, no, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. If it did happen, it would be in books, sort of thing. But as we all know, history is a fucking one big lie.
It's one big lie, 100%.
Yeah,
I mean, the World's Fair, for example, they told us that the World's Fair was built to be destroyed in Chicago, right? The World's Fair, those buildings were massive. This was the late 1800s that this was still around. Like they were literally, the thing is, we're talking about, like in Canada, they're tearing down statues right now. They're tearing down statues of this, that, and the other thing. But what the interesting thing is, we're watching a continuation of a narrative being retold and retold and retold again, because they never told us about star forts. They never told us about Tartaria. They never told us about all the energy stuff that Tesla knew about. They turned Tesla into a pariah with Elon Musk. All of this stuff is all out there, and we're saying we're watching the world's largest book burning right now.
Yeah, the Great Reset.
The truth of the matter is, this has been, if we take ourselves out of the equation and we start saying that our 60 to 100 year lifespan is peanuts compared to what's going on, we can see that this narrative has been perpetuated for a long ass period of time. Like from the 1800s, they were still tearing down those buildings. And it just takes one or two generations for them to understand a different thing. And because like our life it's been like whatever, like I said, I'm 40. So it's been 40 years of my life. I've experienced something a certain way. But if I really think about it, it's been trailing and growing and changing the whole time. So, we've been watching this. Our whole lives has been a small window of whatever it is that they're doing, the true superior race. And if they tell us we're the superior race, we're never, not race, but species, we're never going to look for something else. We're never going to feel threatened. Meanwhile, we're literally prisoners. We're all prisoners. And that's this thing, because again, too, the globe idea is a prison. Well, if you only think that you live on a globe, there's nowhere else to go. And if we're exploring space, you're exploring it right alongside of us. But who the fuck runs the TV shows? Who the fuck runs the media? Who tells us what to think, see, do? Who tells us where to go? Who's in charge of what we learn, of what we understand, of what we comprehend? Who's in charge of all that? First, they destroy the family unit. Mom goes to work, dad goes to work, kids go to school, right? And they then just indoctrinate. And your parents help the indoctrination because they too were indoctrinated. And the parents before them were a little bit different. You know, we don't really know what was going on in the last crash, the last black crash of 1930s, you know, but what we do know is what we were told. And then it's our own arrogance that keeps us locked into this ideology. And this is where depression and anxiety come from too, because we're like, fuck, this, and this is what I've been told. So this, and this is what I must obviously believe, which goes against what I innately feel inside, which fucks me up and makes me want to believe a certain thing and a different thing. And that's where depression comes from, not being aligned with your truth because of the perpetual amount of lies that go on. Sorry, I can talk about this forever, but yeah, that was a nice long rant.
No, I just loved it. I love it because it's exactly how you just explain it a lot better than I do, actually. I need you on my debating team. Like, you know, when I have these encounters at dinners sometimes and I have to, I get all real passionate and shit.
Can you use phone a friend? Like, phone a friend at your dinner debates? Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Let me get my friend on the phone. He's going to answer this question a little bit better than I can.
I'll just put you on speaker and say, fucking listen to this.
But it'll be like 4 a.m. my time because you're in Australia.
Yeah. And this is why I have you, you know, my Canadians and American friends, because I can do the 4 o'clock in the morning. I know you'll be up and you're listening to me. Oh God, no, 100%. And it's a slavery system. This is what we're here for, and breaking away from this. And it, you know, I mean, I still admit that I'm a part of this system. I haven't been able to fully, you know, I have a mortgage still. I mean, I still have to go to work, and, you know, I have to feed my kids, and I am trying to, you know, do my best to just open up my own self rather than enforce it on other people. Now, I mean, back in the days when when you do wake up and you start learning all this shit, and you want everyone to know about it, don't you?
They need to know.
And you get so kind of and so I've had to step back a little bit and just, there is you can't force people to wake up. I mean, that just have to, you can plant a seed here and there and stuff, and which is great. This is how we should probably be doing it. But
this is the power of repetition, and the truth of the matter is, when you're in that moment and it just dawns on you, it's like this. It's the first crack, because it's not like somebody said to me the earth is flat and I'm like, aha, right? I had to think about it. I had to go through it, and then there's that moment where it sets in and you're like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
And then you're like, it's just like you're super light. Like that first crack, you're like, holy fuck, I'm super light. And then you chase that again, but then nothing really makes sense. So even in the beginning stages of quote unquote waking up, you're using former logic. It's like what I say when you're learning a new language. If you're learning French, right? And you're like, the bibliothèque, that means library. You just correlate it back to what you knew. So that you learn the French version of the English word that you know, and you tie it in, as opposed to just speaking the language of French. And that's what's happening with you waking up. When you find out something new, you attempt to fill in the blanks or correlate it back with information that you once had from a time that literally every single thing that we base everything on is coming from lies. So we can't even extrapolate properly, because in our own minds, it's false information that we're working with. So we can't get to where we're going, which is where the frustration comes from, which is where the need to tell people comes from, because the more you repeat it, the more you talk about it, the more you understand. And when you're telling somebody something, you have the opportunity to think to yourself, well, no, they're not going to understand that. So if I say it this way, if I say it that way, but what you're really doing is yourself. You're thinking more and more and more inside your head, and you're working on yourself. By trying to share with them and by trying to help them, you're creating a much stronger and more articulate version of yourself.
And and also your reality also. Like, so that's another thing that, I don't go into those, heavy debates anymore. Like, only because like I the free will factor as well, but I still do, just because I want to poke the bear, as we do, poke the bear. But then, and in this day and age as well, I mean, everyone has been waking up, like, and you can feel it in your guts, like you that people are, are so scared to sometimes even talk about it. It's the thing. I've been talking about it as like you have for years now, and just labeled as a conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat. But it's more than that. It's a journey for all of us, and everyone's on their own, journey, whatever they are doing. But like, yeah, this is mine, this is yours. We're in this reality, together, simulation, whatever. I don't know. I'd love to be able to just articulate a little bit better than what I'm doing right now. But I think that I feel that there is just, in our lifetime, I'm sure we are going to see an even greater shift than what is just right in us right now. This is not the reality that.
Oh, we're just getting started.
I love it. We're getting started,
baby.
And I'm not talking about technology or kind of transhumanism and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I am thinking more to the evolution of our consciousness is just it's there, and they fucking know it. Mm-hmm. They know that we are getting better and better, with this.
And they're
stuff.
doing everything in their power to stifle the fact that we're going to realize that we are literally all one entity.
Oh, yes. Yeah, baby.
So that's the war we're in right now. It's them versus us. But the world still thinks that they are us. And to a degree they are. They are the representation. They are what we need to fight for us to understand and realize who we are. That's why they exist.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Like, I mean, we can demonize the hell out of them, or they, who the controllers are. But at the end of the day, they are forcing us to evolve. So that's not a bad thing. I mean, yes, you've got the other side of people that are stuck in that other world, but it is purposeful. And they can be pushing all these buttons and everything, and we could be doing what they want. But then this polarization is purposeful. It is needed for us, for us kick up the butt, basically. And I admit that I do need kicks up the butt sometimes in order to get me to get me going. So that's the other side of it. I think, it's not all doom and gloom. This is for a purpose, for our evolution.
I read an article, and I share it a lot with a lot of people. It's the Covenant is the webpage. I'll even put that in the link of the footnotes for the show. Yeah. But this is the idea behind it is it's a conversation with a quote unquote elite. And we all know that the elites need to tell you their story. It's part of the game, blah, blah, blah.
Yes. I think I've said this. Yeah, read this before, but yeah, keep going. Yep.
And what I really like about it is that he's telling you that, we made the choice before we got here to be this way so that you could see this, right? We are suffering here for you. We're doing all this evil for you. And the interesting thing about that is when you really think about it, if they're literally living evil, because we wake up to, what brought me to God or to the light was just the overwhelming amount of darkness, the overwhelming amount of evidence of quote unquote Satan, right? That if they're scientifically, there has to be a yin to this yang. And I'm just like, I'm fucking living in darkness. So there needs to be a light to this. And what he was saying was that we made this choice. So now you have to think to yourself, is it truly evil if these people are doing evil things so that you and I pay attention? Because like if the worst thing that these guys are doing was eating green jelly beans, none of us would even be the wiser. None of us would understand who we are or even have the ability to grow into our true purpose. And then other people will say, well, if that's really the case, why weren't we just born with our true understanding and true purpose? Well, because that's boring too, right? The whole purpose of what we're doing is to grow through what we're growing through so that we can become what we're supposed to become. This is the journey where everyone's like, what's the meaning of life? I'm like, fucking existence is the meaning of life. Understanding, getting, learning, growing, becoming much bigger than you ever thought you could possibly be. And that doesn't mean being the monopoly man with your monocle and your millions of dollars. It means having a healthy balance between family, love, finance, buildings, understanding, growth, skill set, compassion, love, humanity, everything, just radiating this purity that
experiencing
the human experience is phenomenal.
The human experience. 100%. Preaching to the choir. You just nailed it. That's
I don't know. Like I said, I could go on and on for hours, but we've run a little bit long here. We're 20 minutes over, but that's okay. And I know you've probably got places to be, but I I love this conversation. This is obviously not the last time you're going to be on the show.
I love these conversations too. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure, 100%. And we're definitely going to have you back, and we're gonna dive into. I mean, a lot of the stuff that's going on, and I'm gonna source you. If I've got questions, I'll ask you, and I'll quote them on the show. But Australia is still a mystery to a lot of the rest of the world, which is weird because why would they have picked that continent? And maybe it's not that. Maybe the fact that it's a mystery to the rest of the world is indicative of the rest of the world is a mystery to the rest of the world. And it'll open another door for us to see a little bit more about what's going on. I mean, I know full well that, in Canada, they're telling us that it's America that's blocking the border between Canada and the States. But I know full well that in the Americans like, yeah, we just come and go. We're not worried about it. So it's also just a myth. It's a story. There's so much fucking doublespeak going on in this world right now.
Yeah.
I really don't know. Is there anything you wanted to add to this, or, did we miss anything? Is there anything you want to talk about or get off your chest, or anything before we go? Or
with Australia, I mean, a lot of people do ask me, or message me about, that we are the test subjects for the New World Order. And I've read that also as well. And I do believe that the reason why Australia is this kind of maybe the target for all this is because of our laid backness, like we've, and our good kind of, trusting nature, I suppose, as well. And hardworking, we just want to, do the right thing. It's kind of like, it's a passive aggressive, almost Canada is sort of similar, I've been told, that passive aggressive kind of nature. And it's not until we really get kind of pushed, that we just go, hang on, we arc up a little bit. But I mean, you've had the same sort of thing with, a lot of people in the States will say, oh, look, I just wish I could just get, a whole pile of guns, and drop them off to you. We have guns here, but I mean, not like, your machine guns or AKs or anything like that, like the States do. And I mean, I've even thought about that, I'm just like, imagine if we could just, mow down, Parliament, but it's not the answer, of course.
No, Jim Jeffries is one of your exports, and he's told the Americans full well that you guys have abolished guns altogether. So, I used to like him too, but when you start listening to some of his stuff now, you just realize that he's just preaching the same narrative. They're all preaching the same narrative. But when he first came out, motherfuck, was he funny? Oh my God.
He was. I've been to one of his shows, and yeah, exactly it. He was fucking funny. But yeah, they all get paid to puppet the same bullshit. Yeah, you and I can see that. But yeah, I'm still, and I'm not waiting for everyone to wake up. It's my personal, and this has always been my personal mantra, is to awaken all that is within my own self. And that's where I start to see things shift in my life, or people change. It's not, I don't directly do it or say it to them. It's whenever I it's almost like some would say it was timeline jumping, kind of thing. It's about me actually working on my own shit, whether that be a bad habit or or going to someone that I kind of, didn't really like, or I had a falling out. It's working on my own stuff, and that's where an awakening everything there is for me inside me, and that's I can just only hope that it rolls on to my outer world. You know what I mean?
It has to. There's no way it can't. And you summed it up pretty good there. And everything that we're going through right now is an external reflection of our internal self. What can we grow? What can we build? What can we do? I will definitely hope to have you back on the show. I hope you do want to come back on.
Yes.
It's been a blast.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, I loved it. Thank you so much. I shit my pants before I came on, but yeah, you make it so comfortable. So you're a legend at this. Thank you so much for just even thinking of me. Thank you.
Awesome. Amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, in the infamous words of Red Green, keep your stick on me, guys.
Thank you for listening to today's Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Let the team know you're listening by using the hashtag MMA and Mental Mastery Alliance. Want more motivation? Be sure to follow online on Instagram at Mental Mastery Alliance and on Facebook at Mental Mastery Alliance. And remember, your perception creates your reality. Make it a great day.
You got it, Pontiac.